This is an Illamade production, live on the Illamade network. To all our viewership, please eavesdrop. In the building today, we got someone, in my opinion, is just on a different level when it comes to resilience. Her handling of like problems and adversity is just commendable. You just got to salute her, and she's someone that deserves a lot of admiration and praise. You get me? We got Nawal in the building today, you know. What you saying, love? You alright?
Oh man, I love that.
No, we have to.
You.
No, come on, we have to. Literally,
no, man, I didn't understand. You know.
You didn't understand what?
The word, there was a word that confused me, but it sounded nice. Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
We have to though. Like, you know what it is as well. Like, just to even start things off, like, I'm a man. Like, I need humbling in my life. You know what I mean? And it's like, I sometimes I got to sit down and really watch and listen to what people go through. Just to remind myself that, you know what, you got it so like easy compared to some people. You know what I'm saying? So I'm a bit under the weather still a little bit, so my voice is a bit, you know what I mean? But like, some people have been through a lot of stuff, you know what I mean? And you're of no different sort of thing, innit? You get me?
You know, we move, alhamdulillah, regardless, you know what I'm saying?
100%. So just to like ease our way into things a little bit. So if I can ask you about taking it all the way back, you know what I mean? And you can just tell me about like your earliest memories of childhood sort of thing.
So like, I had a wicked childhood, man. I grew up in a home. My mum raised all three of us. I got everything I wanted. Tuition, duxi, you know, typical Somali kid. You know, we went on holidays every summer. Yeah, man, it was lit. I wish I was young now.
Yeah.
I look at kids and I envy them, like, you ain't got no care in the world, everything done for you.
Yeah, what? So you was like putting up for yourself sort of thing, like?
No, like, all right, so growing up, it was, I loved it. May God grant my mum the highest ranks in heaven. But when I started rebelling a bit was, I grew up in an estate.
Right.
So like, in my estate, you know, there's people that test you a gangster or whatever, or like try to test you. And, you know, when you ain't got a brother, you know, like people, I've noticed when people have brothers and you grew up in like the environment I grew up in, people be like, oh, no, that's brother, or like they'll fear it. There was no fear factor in my family, like no one to really fear. So I just thought like anyone that started trouble with me or my siblings, I just fought them. Like, I don't know, any little London kid, innit?
Come on, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
So like, as far as like the area, like, so you grew up in an estate, so obviously, I guess foreign people, they might be listening to us and thinking an estate, it sounds like something fancy, but obviously letting you know that estate is quite the opposite when you come to our part of town, you know what I mean? So talk to me about, obviously, where, sort of thing, where you're growing up.
So like, it was, like, you know them closed-in estates? So we lived like in a closed-in estate or whatever.
One way in, one way out sort of thing.
Yeah, one way in, one way out. But like, yeah, I don't want to give up too much.
100.
Yeah, in Edmonton, you know, like, I always, African mum, you know what I'm saying? So when I was in primary school, I got bullied throughout primary school. I never really said nothing. I remember coming home and my mom saying, you're always fighting your little sister. Go, like, Naya Skali, you know what I'm saying? Go defend yourself or whatever. Then I just had enough. So when I started year 7, it was just, like, I'm on volts. Like, I'm not having it. So I remember one of the girls that used to bully me in primary school was starting secondary school with me. She tried it. And I fought her, and yeah, from then, like, it was just like, I was just like, I don't know.
It was rumbling, like, from that point.
I wouldn't necessarily go start it on people, but if people started it on me, like, I'd back myself.
Defo. No, I totally got you still, but obviously as well, like, the climate of these type of environments, you know what I mean, they either make or break you as well, innit? So it's like, you can even choose to respond to it or just succumb to the pressure, like, you get me?
It's like that fight or flight, you know. And I was so tired of running all the time or taking it in as a kid, which actually led me, when I was in year 7, I got permanently excluded from school.
In year 7?
Yeah, in year 7. I say this a lot, right? I feel like the system like sets up kids in it. I feel like if the system wanted kids to grow up and become something, and they'd hire empaths as teachers. I felt like growing up with me, it was, like another bad kid would do something, but they'd get praised, while my retaliation would be. So I had enough towards the ending of year 7. I remember one science teacher one time, there was 2 boys, kept picking on kept picking on me. And then I ended up like tweaking on them, like defending myself. And then the teacher started getting on to me, like embarrassing me in front of the class. I bugged out, threw a chair across her face. I ended up getting excluded. That ain't right at all. To be honest, if I could go back in time, I'd actually go back to school with the knowledge I have today.
Yeah,
but
that's pretty humble.
we can't, so it's just like, own your shit, know when you are wrong, know when you overreacted. But that led to me getting sent to Somalia for, obviously my mom took us on holidays or whatever when we were younger, but for 2.5
Yeah, we're going to touch on that real quick. So just even before that, I would say, obviously you getting in more trouble now. It started off a thing where you're just basically just trying to defend yourself, innit? Because it's like, this climate is mad as far as what I'm in. And if I don't respond the way that I respond, it's a bit of a lose-lose, innit? Because I'm going to be looked at a certain way, because the oppressed are going to start getting looked at as the oppressor sort of thing, innit? And I'm sort of like assuming a little bit that was the case with
so
you,
like in school, it was always, oh, Nawal. Like, I'd always get in trouble.
But they don't know the trauma though, innit?
Yeah.
Of how we got to this point now where it's like, okay, now I've got to stick on everyone sort of thing, innit?
And to be honest, I'm quite glad the school I went to, there was a lot of us. And it was very much all for one for all. This might rub people the wrong way, but like, it is what it is. Like, with our culture, right? What I find that I love about it is, I don't know you today. I may not know every Somali person, but what I know is we were 9 times out of 10 raised the same, with the same morals, same mannerisms, to respect people, to always have each other's back. Like Somali Nima, what is that? Is a brotherhood, a sisterhood. So it was like, we're never really watching each other get drawed out. So,
Nah, sick. Nah, I salute. Obviously, negativity is negativity, but I salute it.
I don't care. Let it rub people off the wrong way. I don't know how that could, get like us, if anything, if it bothers you.
But them people, they just only look at the surface, you know what I mean? They don't want to get to, you get me, to understand why things are the way that they are.
100%.
You get me? So, nah.
No, but don't get... It's the minority of people, I feel like,
You'll be surprised,
and it's people that actually honestly hate Somali people. Because I got a lot of non-Somali friends, and they respect, and I grew up with them, and, we cherish each other, and, what I'm saying, they be calling my mum Hoya. So, I don't know. So I find it the minority, and nobody cares about them.
No, straight. All right, boom. So now, you got basically kicked out of school at a certain point. And I guess your mum is basically saying, all right, boom, we're going to take a flight. And the Queen, of course, you get me?
She didn't even trick me. Like, she wrote a contract. She was like to me, by the way, that was like the first times I was getting arrested. 11 is a very young age, and 12 to be doing dumb things like that. But I was just fighting all the time or whatever. And so parents always used to call the police.
You was getting shifted on for like fighting and that?
Fighting, like dumb things. Like, when I fight someone, like I may have robbed them. But it's stupid. But it happened, didn't it? Like, and I was young.
100%.
But yeah, she wrote a contract. She was like to me, like, because I was them kids, I'll still do the same shit. So she was like to me, you're going to go to the village. It was a village I went to. I lived in a village. And she was like, if you don't behave, whatever. I ended up getting permanently excluded, which went against the contract. So she threw me a leaving party. I knew I was going. She took me there.
A leaving party, you know.
It was just after like the civil, so it was 2007, like Galkayo. So there was like a little war or whatever that was running from like 2006, I think. 2000.
Yeah,
I think I'm getting a date. It was roughly them times.
Them
So
times,
I was in Burtinle, then I went over to Galkayo. I was there, see a lot. Ended up coming back at 14.
So basically, like your mum wanted to put you in a boarding school.
No, that happened at 23. So
Okay.
I've been a dip out child. So yeah, so I come back at 14. Wallahi, I cannot express how good I was when I come back. I finished the Quran. I was heads down in my books. Even my accent changed. Like I didn't have the British accent anymore. I was going to a Kenyan school in Galkayo called Yameska, and I studied hard. I come back, and you know, like when you're over there, like you really see life for what it is, and you're more grateful. So it humbled me. So by the time I've come back, even the school that permanently excluded me sat aboard me and with me and my mum, saw my change and allowed me to go back. And I think that's where I went wrong. I think I should have went to a new school.
Yeah.
Because people, by the time I come back, they didn't want to forget who I was in year 7. Like I had people bullying me again. Like people, I felt like I was in primary school again. And then it was like that unleashed the demon out of me. Like I wasn't taking it no more. So a few months into me being back in the school, I was at square one. It was like I was back in year 7 again.
It's like crabs in a bucket mentality, don't it? You get me? Like people don't want to respect no growth. They don't want to respect someone that's trying to change themselves or something.
I'm going through that right now. But I'm going to keep pushing.
100%. But even in that situation in particular, it's like the second sort of go around is going to be a lot worse though, isn't it? Because I already tried to leave that, and now people are trying to send me towards that type of path now. Now this one here is different now, isn't it? So I can only imagine what type of things was happening at that point. So yeah, so tell me about that. So now you're back in school and now...
Yeah, like I was getting bullied, like I told you. Sorry, I'm a bit under the weather as well.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, man, it was school. I wish, like, I know I shouldn't regret, and I'm always told that I shouldn't regret things, but wallahi, if I could go back with the knowledge I have today, I would have, you know, been places in life, would have learned things, and I know it sounds like I'm bringing myself down and pumping myself down. I'm really not. It's just life, innit?
Do you know what's crazy,
You regret things, you learn from things.
It's never too late, though. You know that, innit? It's never too late to start again.
No, I hear you.
Every day is an opportunity, you know?
I hear you, I hear you.
What progressed at that point after now? You being in school, I guess, did it get crazier or something?
It got worse. I was, you know, I left school. When I got kicked out again in year 11. So weird. The teacher let me go to prom but didn't let me do my GCSE exam. It's so weird. That school was very weird. Ended up leaving, started getting arrested again, was on tag majority of after me leaving school. So embarrassing, man, but guess.
I feel you, yeah. It's part of the story though, isn't it? You get me?
And then after that, I went Kenya. So there was a point in my life, this happened to me a couple times, like I'll see where I'm going, I'll see the fact that like I could do better. And wallahi, like I've spoken about this on my TikToks and I've, you know, cried and, you know, I'm very much open about talking about my life because it's like, I want the young kids that were like me in it to deep the fact like, rare fam, you're gonna regret it. Like you might think it's a big flex at the moment to be that bad breed, but trust me, like it will come bite you in the ass later on in life, especially when you're a girl. Because I've noticed when you're a guy, you know, you can just smack on a khamis or go get married and it's like you're no longer that guy that done, you know, the jail cat that was in and out of jail. Whereas if you've done something as a child or whatever, it's always going to follow you. So I regret it because, like, my mum, like, this queen, she never really gave up on me. I don't think, I can't express it because I've had family members sit up with her and tell her, what are you doing? Like, just give up. You know, she don't appreciate you. And she never gave up on me. So even though I was bad or whatever, like, whenever I'm with my mum and I'm having them conversations, because even though I was bad, I was always good to my mum. So, like, when she will have conversations with me, she'll present me with things like, you know, like, to better myself. And I remember her, like, trying to convince me to go move over to Kenya, like, with her cousin that's living really nice. She'll be like, you know, you can go to a school, redo everything. And I remember that being on my mind. I just come off tag. I'm like 16, 17. Before then, she tried to dip me to Canada and America as well.
Oh, right. And what was over there? Like other family? Like,
family members and that. And, you know, she was trying. It was never always just Africa. She tried with many things. So I know, like, no matter what, my mum wants the best for me. She's a non-biased human. You know what I mean?
100%.
So I'd listened to her and she presented me with this. So it was in my head for months. And then I remember being so low and thinking to myself, you know, you can do better. So I sat my mom down. I was like, oh, yeah, I'm ready to go Kenya. I went Kenya. Another thing I regret, I ended up, the story times on my YouTube as well, I ended up, you know, getting sent to a boarding school. Now, this boarding school was an amazing boarding school.
For real?
Like, it was called Light Academy. It had a cinema, basketball court, like TT. They take you, they give you your phones back on the weekend. They take you to a big supermarket.
Yeah.
I went there for a week. The first supermarket chance I got, I was out. I ended up linking my friend.
Had your mum, like, already told you, like, debriefed you, like, okay, you're going to go to a boarding school or...
That's...
Nah?
No.
Right. So what she told you?
So like? I was living with my aunt. And remember, like, I've always been that kid that gets sent back or whatever. So I know my family back home and that. So I'm very family orientated. So I figured, oh, auntie, she's lit. You know, like, it's nice. I can go school, live with her. But ended up boarding school. But now, look here. Then I was thinking, oh, you went against me. But in her mind, she's thinking what I'm thinking now. Like, if I stayed in there, I would have accomplished a lot. You feel what I'm saying? Like, and it was so expensive. $5,000 for one term. $5,000. Like, back then, you know what I'm saying? That's 10 years ago I'm talking. I'm 27 now.
Mad.
You know, I just feel bad, you know.
I feel you still, but you stayed at this boarding school for a week.
Yeah.
And on the weekend they got supermarket visits.
Yeah.
And you basically masterminded some big getaway.
No, my friend was also there, and he had long hair. They like shaved off his hair. They was making him live there. I envied him because his whole family was there, you know, living there with him. But he wanted to escape. His family owned a part of Dahabshil, which is a Somali bank. So he ended up finessing $10,000. And he was like to me, the night that I got my phone, he was like, listen, I got 10,000. Like, I'm going to pick you up tomorrow. We're out. Like, we're going back to England. But then I got to the supermarket, you know, done my little flee. He's outside it. We left. We kept going to, you know, the embassies, but they weren't willing to give, even though we had money, they weren't willing to give us passports. But I think it was because that's when, you know, the Somali Arsenal, let's say, Arsenal was over in Kenya doing a madness, and they saw two Malis, like, trying to go back to the country. They thought, you're dying with us. That's what I think anyway.
I feel you. Makes sense though.
But yeah, they didn't let us go, but we ended up being rebels in Kenya. Just
so you lot was chilling in like a
touring.
hotel, like, and just like touring and
He's
stuff.
literally my brother. We ended up getting our other friends that were around. There was hella of us in Kenya at that time. So we ended up getting 2 of our female friends, 3 of our other male friends that all grew up around each other. And we were just touring till the money nearly finished.
Hey, it's mad though. That's what I mean. It's like your resilience is different, man. Because it's like for you, it's not there's no failure in it. Like you're when you got your mind on something, it could be negative or whatever, but you're gonna see it
Try
out.
to find a good. You know what it is. You dwelling over things and like beating yourself up about things is ridiculous. Don't get shit twisted. I do it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm our worst enemy. Self-sabotage is my homie. Like, but I'm gonna keep pushing. At the end of the day, this is my story. This is something I've been through in life, you know, and it's about learning, innit? Like, I'm still grinding. Do you know what I mean?
100%. I fully respect it. So the second time, you got sent back there. So when you come back, was an agreement made with the mums? Like, you know what? Like your mum's telling you, like, you know what? You're going back. You get me? Like, cause you're trying to move crazy. You're going back. Is that?
No,
I'm just imagining that's what the conversation was.
I think you're thinking about the lockup that I was in, right?
No. Oh. So I'm talking about the school. You've come back from breaking out of the boarding school. You get me? So what's the conversation like with mum? Like, what's she saying? Like, I could imagine she's like, basically, you're going back in it. You get me? Because I'm not having it for you to.
She would like to be all right then. By the way, my mum will tell you this. One thing she loved, she tells me jump how high, like, you know. So I knew I just rebelled and I did the most and I made her lose out on a lot of money that I'm working for until today, I promise. But she'd like to me, okay, Naya, you're going to Somalia. Now she took me to Somalia. I had a plan already. Remember, I went there already to her side of the family and there wasn't that much change. So she thought this time, I'm going to take her to her dad's side.
Wow, like that.
But the thing is about my dad's side, my mom's side, they're religious or whatever, but my dad's side, they're militant. They all got guns. They're all a part of the government. So they've all got guns around. Do you know what I mean? So, and as British people, we don't see that. And my mum don't see it. So even though she's born there, it's like, that's a bit wild. So when she took me over there, I had a plan in my head. I conjured the plan. I said, okay, I'm just going to grab one of these guns and say, all right, if you leave me here, I'm going to kill myself and I'm going to kill them. I'm going to kill them and then I'm going to kill me. Even though I weren't going to do it, it was just a way to get out. Now she said, all right, cool. Got something else. You're going to, and wallahi, this is, well, I'm making light of it, but it's not because, wallahi, like, we need to protect our parents. We need to not over-prioritize friendship. We need to know what we're doing to damage our parents because me as a grown-up today, looking back at what I've done, it's like, how the fuck are you putting your mum through that? Are you a wally or what? Like,
I respect the accountability.
It don't, like, it's rubby. And I'll tell you, I was moist as a kid. There's people today that will move like, they'll tell me, oh, you've gone rubbed now. People try you because you're wet now. Like, you're not on it. But it's like me, I'm here looking at her like, you dumb. How you even...
How else are you supposed to look
like,
at her? That's exactly
you're
what you
a rubby girl.
You're
100%.
You're a dummy, like, you get me?
100, and I'll take it. Like... But she was like to me, okay, I'm going to take you to another boarding school. So we went back to Kenya. We went to a place called Nyari. Nyari? It's a village in Kenya. Now, this place was like the last place I was in. It was more of a torture place. They'll tell you your parents don't love you, whatever. Like, even though your parents trying hard to save you or whatever, and they know the agenda your parents putting you in there for, they'll tell you you're not rated, like your parents don't love you, that's why you're in here. You know, they beat on you. They were in that village, it rained all the time, so there'd be this big tank here, this blue tank, and rain will fill it up. In the morning, they will, like, this is men doing this as well, they'll grab it, they'll throw it all over you, grab a whip you, and that if you're 2 minutes late for prayer, if you woke up a bit late, if another girl complained about you, if they feel like, you know, you're intimidating and you're capable of breaking out. Bear in mind, they had the knowledge that I just broke out of somewhere. I didn't necessarily, but escaped from the teachers in a place.
I can imagine.
In the supermarket.
Word travels fast in a place like that. Yeah.
No, like the parents will let them know, like, all right, this one is capable, so keep an eye out. But they don't tell them, oh, go abuse my youth or whatever, you know? So I clocked how it was. These girls were digital. They weren't like the last place I was in when I was younger. The place I was in, they were all digital. They all saw the fact that these men were doing too much. But what these men did have, I could say that the last place didn't have, was hikmah for the religion. They weren't essaying girls. They might flirt with them, but they weren't doing what the last place was doing. Now, going back to the place I was in, I ended up telling the girls, you know what, Eid's coming up, let's bounce. Everyone conjured a plan, we all sat around. Like, the maid used to cut up the wood with a big axe to cook food. Damn. So one of the craziest girls in there, big her up, she's from America, she took the axe, she started smashing the windows of the place, all the girls creating mayhem. The woman that owned it, so it would be a big house, right? And then there was this like jingad. How do I say jingad in English? Like, it's that rattling, it's like this metal kind of thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, she gated that off her house part of it. She heard the mayhem going on, but she rents out this place to these men. So she ended up opening the door saying, get out of my house, you're like breaking my house. Like, so the men are chasing us down the road, ended up escaping there. I went back to Kenya. We all took a minibus to Nairobi. When we got there, a couple of us were just, you know, like got a hotel. Then we ended up getting an apartment. Then, you know, when money ran out and, you know, we kept telling people send us money. And when it ran out, we all just went back to our family homes. I ended up staying with my mum's sister for a long time, you know, and then come back to England.
Mad. Yo, it's actually crazy. Like, and you was these times you were like 17?
17.
Fucking hell.
That's come like back just before my 18th.
That's a lot for like someone who's like you get me? Like, it's late teens, but still, like, you're more or less a child at that point, you know what I mean? It's like, it's not for you to be rolling around but you're still making it happen sort of thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's mad still, it's mad. So now, there's a particular place, right, innit? Like, are we going to give them clout and say their name, or are we...
Yeah, Luqman al-Hakim.
Luqman al-Hakim, yeah? So,
and I want to say this, sorry.
Yeah, go for it.
A lot of people are always asking me, oh, like... you know, is that the only place? Oh, it's only in Somalia. No, it is in everywhere. Like, there's places like that in Nairobi. Like, I bet there was a Ghanaian girl that was telling me, like, there's places like that in Ghana. Like, it's just about bringing awareness. But yeah, like, there's hella places like that in Somalia. Hella, my bro. It's not just Luqman al-Hakim, but yeah, Luqman.
Okay, so, but this one in particular is where you was residing at for a little piece, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, if we talk about the build-up a little bit, so, I guess, if I'm going to assume again, this is the parents' call.
Okay.
Yeah.
This one was different. So, you know how we were at 17, come back, just about to turn 18. I'm more humble, I'm more calm, but I'm still, like, fighting. Alhamdulillah, you know, looking back is a bit weird because I'm not on it, like, right now. Anyone try to fight me, I swear, like, they're embarrassing themselves. You're fighting your own demons. But, yeah, I'm just fighting, and I ended up, you know, going to prison, catching my case at 19.
Oh, right.
2014, ended up being on bail for a year. That woke me up. I can't explain it. I become woke, grabbed a 9 to 5, started working, head down. I was on bail for about a year. You've watched my YouTube.
Yeah, I was going to say, can we talk about that a little bit?
Yeah.
So, I can't remember when he told me, I swear down, the first thing that I thought initially was like, there's some shit man out here, you know what I mean? And I'm talking just grimy, like good for nothing, worthless pieces of shit. And what I mean by that is like, not only are they trying to do like random people something, but it's like them random people can be females. And I'm not even talking about like violating them in a certain way. I'm talking about stealing from women, fam. Like, you get it? Like, it's like, how bad do you think you are, like going around and taking stuff off like women, you know what I mean? And it's like, obviously, someone like you being who you are, obviously you're not gonna stand for that, you know what I mean? So, but yeah, tell me about the story, innit? So, I've been watching it, just being vexed. Like,
yeah.
so, literally.